Hey everybody, this is Dust for Stone Gaming. Quick hits legacy stream here. Finishing up the last match in our league. We're currently 3-1 with the deck. So far we played against Dredge twice, Storm, and Infect. Managed to go split the pair against Dredge. We beat Infect, and Storm we got a little bit lucky to beat. So one final match to decide if we're going 4-1 or 3-2 in this league. Then after that, we're going to jump into a couple games with a black-white Superfriend tokens list from Space Marine in Modern. So, sorry it took a few seconds to get things set up. But, Legacy matches don't tend to take too long, especially when you're on burn, so figuring maybe 20-25 minutes tops here on burn, and then another maybe hour or so doing some of Space Marine's list. So I'm kind of getting tired myself, plus I gotta get up not early for work tomorrow morning, but early for errands and stuff tomorrow, so probably stream with an hour or so with Space Marine's Black-White Super Friends list after we get done with this league with Legacy Burn. Legacy queues do take a little bit longer, unfortunately, because not as many people playing them as like Modern or Standard. So we finally be on the play one of these games. I guess the answer to that is no. Sand's definitely a keep, but Burn Mirror? Maybe Mono Black Prison? Or Mono Red Prison, I mean. It'd be kind of funny if it was the Burn Mirror. Nope, definitely not the Burn Mirror. Ah, Goblins. So, question is, am I supposed to get Eidolon down here, or am I supposed to... Nope, that's just straight up goblins. Alright, interesting. I feel like this is probably a decent matchup. Tarfire. See if our opponent tries to Tarfire here. Presume... Alright, got their own turn 3. So we're playing against goblins, but what version of goblins here? Huh. Definitely want the Searing Blood. As far as the rest of the cards, I'm not really sure. Maybe board out. Well, obviously, should probably board out the Price of Progresses here. Doesn't feel like this is going to be a Price of Progress matchup. So, am I bringing in Pillars or am I bringing in Vortexes? I feel like this might be a Vortex matchup. And then one of Smash to Smithereens in case they have like Chalices for some reason. Yep, we back. I don't think we can keep this hand. Guess on the draw it's alright. No Bolt, however, is going to put us in some rough shape here. Double Lackey. I'm going to put a Sting Scourger into... Alright. I think this game's going to be over pretty quick. Depending on what they go get here. Yeah, Ringleader seems like a card that's going to be a problem. So they do confirm have Chalice of the Void. And we're too far behind this game, so let's go to game 3. Definitely not interested in these Sulfuric Vortexes, however these Smash to Smithereens are looking rather decent. So, alright. Goblin Guide into Blow Up Your Crap seems pretty decent. Especially when our opponent's only getting to 5. Scribe to the bottom. Alright, so hopefully we won't give them... Oh, Ether Vial, sure. Does feel like our opponent's deck's got a lot of air in it, though. Goblin Chieftain. Goblin Lackey. Was kind of dumb on my part. Should just let them block here first. That stupid Pendelhaven's gonna hurt us here. So the worst card they probably have in their hand is that Chieftain. Alright, so our opponent's just gonna try to block here. Seems dubious. Since I'm playing out this mountain right now. Why wouldn't you at least play out the Chieftain here? That's a card. Alright, and we got there. Alright, so 4-1 in our first Legacy League with Burn. Felt pretty good. But, yeah. Now on to Space Marine's list. Hopefully he's floating around somewhere. If not, we're kind of going to be playing this for no good reason. How are you doing, War Dog? Seems like you're the only one that made it back. Especially since it was Foz that specifically wanted us to finish the Legacy League. Oh well. 4-1's 4-1. Can't complain about that. Alright, so on to the Super Friends list. So, alright man, hope you sleep well. Black-White Super Friends. So, this list is extremely high curve for Modern, so we'll see how it does. What's up, O'Doyle Rules? Just literally was finishing the Legacy League and then starting in on Space Marine's Black-White Super Friends list here in Modern. Because Foz wanted me to finish the Burn League. So 24 lands, nothing too special. 4 Shambling Vent, whole bunch of one-man interaction, Fatal Push, Path to Exile, Thoughtseize, and then Distress, which is basically Thoughtseize for an additional black mana without the life loss. 4 Lingering Souls and Anguish Unmaking all bridge you into your Planeswalkers. Then, as long as you hit your land drops, Gideon Ally of Zendikar, Sorin Lord of Innistrad, and Sorin Solemn Visitor, all pump out tokens, all can be Anthem effects in the right situations. So between all these are kind of like your stabilizing turn, is like turn 4, play your dudes, stabilize. Couple Gideon Juras make it more difficult for your opponent to attack your 4-mana Planeswalkers. Up next list is kind of your card advantage / kill card. Its ultimate can also end the game pretty quickly. And then one of Elspeth's Champion, if you don't know what this card does, pretty much means game over in most fair matchups. And then one Storm Solemn Visitor can be card advantage, can kill creatures, kill Planeswalkers, and its ultimate also pretty much ends the game. So, pretty easy switch in, switch out there. Sideboard, Celestial Purges for any matchups with black or red cards. They're usually things like Liliana the Veiled as Shadow. Timely Reinforcements for burn and other aggro decks when you need to slow things down until you can get your Planeswalkers. Duress and Inquisition when your spot removal are pretty pathetic and you need to attack more combo-based decks like Ad Nauseam. Storm, well actually Storm, you'd leave in some of your spot removal. And Damning Spear for Tron, Storm, KCI. Karn for more controlling mid-range matchups. Just another Planeswalker to add to your Super Friends collection. With Dex and Daxes and Tron. Yeah, you'll have to send me a list sometime, although it'll be a little bit before I'll be able to play it. Because honestly, the only reason we played Legacy was because Foz wanted us to. Because I don't actually rent Legacy cards from Mana Traders yet. That was actually all the burn deck I actually physically own on my other account. So alright, constructed open play. I wouldn't mind playing it. I'd probably be more prone to play I'd probably be more prone to play black-red myself, if I had the renting option per se. So, do a couple practice queues, and then we'll hop into some 2-mans with Space Marines list. Lost to Miracles and Grixis Delver, 1 versus Death and Taxes and Tron. What area are you in, O'Doyle, that there's actually enough of a presence to be able to play Legacy? I think we'll keep his hand. It's a little bit sketchy, but alright, so really don't want to fetch shock here, so I'm just going to pass. No sense in casting fetch shock, casting Thoughtseize against a Bloodstained Mire deck. Especially since it could very easily be burn. Stomping Ground makes it less likely it's burn, more likely it's Valakut. Okay, never mind. I have no idea what the heck's going on here. Humble Defector. Okay. Kind of interested. Field of Ruin. Not exactly a card we wanted to draw here. See what our opponent's up to. So you're close to Yeva, or tap it against haste. Both these cards could be annoying. I think I just take Catch Release. Plan on playing Lingering Souls to counter their Yeva. We have jank boys. Well, we are in the practice room, so, you know, not everything you play is going to be tier. To be fair, if we don't draw one of our colored sources next turn, we're going to be in some trouble ourselves, so. We might be getting Yevo'd into the ground here. looks like they're going to steal a token here. Hit us for 5. Doesn't exactly put us in the best position here. Why wouldn't they attack there? That was kind of bizarre. Yeah, I'm familiar with Flint and stuff. I'm probably going to be going to Grand Prix Detroit for some side events. So I'll be up that way in about a month and a half. I actually got the time off work confirmed, so that's a positive. So got some interesting stuff going on over there. Looks like our opponent's like a steel sack kind of deck. This feels like a Sapphire and Olive brew. Seriously? Wow. Unified Modern. Hence why I'll be playing side events. I had the beginnings of a team together, but it just kind of fell through. So I'm not going to try to put a team together in that short of okay. Sure. We are so far off of casting our actual spells that it's just kind of like... At Team Unified Modern, at this particular point, the only deck I own in Paper Modern is Burn. But there are plans to get other decks. I'm looking at either slowly building towards... Agreed on that, War Dog. You know what? I'm all for testing decks, but I can't. I can't. I can't. I can't sit through that. Yeah, I have a friend who's considering going, but he owns a lawn care business, so I'm not sure what he's doing. And I wasn't going to recontact the third person that I was considering as a teammate until I had the second guy on board for sure, so it was kind of like, you know what? I'm not fighting it. I'm just gonna go play some side events, enjoy a Grand Prix weekend, and see what happens. Considering I decided not to go to Columbus and I missed Pittsburgh this year because of work, so. I mean, I'm not ruling out playing in the main event, but it's not like a priority. I just want to go hang out, have some fun. Being able to go to a big Magic event the only time this year. Like this weekend, there's a couple of big tournaments in, well, semi-big tournaments in Northeast Ohio. At the one shop, Empire Games. They have like a modern tournament on Saturday and then a standard tournament on Sunday. Which unfortunately I work both days, so I'm not able to go. It's like, whatever. And then hopefully we'll get a queue here pretty quickly. It's the weekend of September 7th. It's the weekend after it's the weekend after Labor Day. This queue does not want to fire. Alright, so takeaway from the first game there against our steal your crap opponent deck. Just does feel like 24 lands is a little low for a bunch of 4, 5, and 6 drops. It's one of my concerns with this particular list. Can't wear white after Labor Day. Haha. This hand seems to be fine. Especially on the draw, we're a little less susceptible here. So I think I'm just... Yellowsmith in the hand's a little bit awkward, but beyond that, we've got Distress into Lingering Souls. Yeah, there's a lot of things in this list that I'm a little trepid of here. Sorin, Lord of Innistrad. Alright. Go ahead and grab one of our Godless Shrines here. So we can take an Eidolon or something. Like, I like Superfriends lists in general. Like, I've played a Black-White Gideon's list on the channel before. But it's just like, this curve feels super, super high. Alright, Shard Volley, Monastery Swift Spear, and Flames of the Blood Hand. Yeah, Ponza's a perfectly fine deck, especially in Team Unified Modern. Alright, opponent drew a Lava Spike, sure. You're really gonna Shard Volley us? Feels a little weird given the fact that they have flames in hand. Play out Lingering Souls, playing on double blocking here. This is, Space Marines list. The thing with paper versus Magic Online, and this is something you'll hear me harp on a little bit, is paper, you can tend to get away with a slightly lower land count than you can on Magic Online. Magic Online forces you to play with a much more accurate random sampling land base. The other opponent has Flames of the Blood Hand. About the only thing we know. That explains the high mana curve. Like I said, I don't mind I don't know if there's a huge difference between 8 and 9, even with Flames of the Blood Hand in play. Gideon's not a bad one here. Alright, cancel. Let's play this Field of Ruin out. Still get to disguise the fact we have Path to Exile here. Make a dude. Could easily get burned out over the next turn or so. Especially since we know our opponent minimum has 4 damage in hand. It is a 4 damage. Yeah, I'm actually going. I mean, okay, I'm at 1. Do you have another burn spell? Yep. I mean, if we can figure something out, Doyle, that's great. If not, I was planning on going just for side events, so. Alright, so definitely want these timely reinforcements. Definitely interested in these Duresses and Inquisitions. These Thought Seizes can go. These Anguished Unmakings can go. Elsfest seems like a little overkill. Sorin seems like overkill. Do I really want 10 discard spells in my deck? Let me get rid of a Distress. I mean, like I said, if we can figure something out, there's a couple of off-the-wall decks that I'm considering that don't take a lot of cards out of other decks. Like, Burn is obviously my go-to choice here, but, I mean, I could put by then I could put together, like, Amulet Titan or a Nauseam, both of which I've played some amount before. Yeah, I mean, we're not gonna Not going to throw back a duress, timely reinforcements nonsense hand. Okay, Leyline of Punishment. Fair enough. Opponent clearly doesn't want us gaining life. Lightning Bolt, Shard Volley, Skull Crack. So our mono life game plan against Burn is going to fail miserably. Yeah, the thing I'd have to look up the exact rules of Team Unified Modern, but there are some like quirky like rules with deck building and such, so see if our opponent fires off their bolt here. Yep. Skull Crack, Leyline of Punishment, and so our opponent's kind of getting punished for their well, no, I'm not sure if it's if that's the rule or if you can only have 4 of across the entire thing. Like I know some formats are you can only have 4 of one card across your entire deck or all 3 decks, and then some of them are each deck can't share any of the same card names. I'm not sure which one's which. So I would actually have to look up the specific rules. The question is, am I supposed to just let this stupid goblin guy hit me for 2? I don't like taking damage, but at the same time, this timely reinforcements is a blank otherwise. So this at least gets us some pressure in play. Okay. Fair enough. You were correct, sir. You were correct. So a few decisions. Yeah, Burn's a pretty fun deck. See. Okay. Yeah, it's 8 rounds day 1, 7 rounds day 2. So I don't think I'm really supposed to play up Nixilis in this kind of matchup, huh? Now the screwy question is I guess if there's a game 3, I'm gonna want Celestial Purge. Because we know 2 of the 3 cards in their hand are absolute trash right now. I mean, Shard Volley is a card, sort of. And that second ley line of punishment does absolutely nothing. Oh, it's only 14 rounds? How much power does this give us? This allows us to close out the game in 2 turns. 6, 8, 10. I don't think our opponent can kill us from here. Does Shard Volley keep them alive? Yeah, I don't dismiss the power of Shard Volley, that's for sure. Or not Shard Volley, 8-rack. I've lost quite a few times to 8-rack with Burn, so. See if our opponent scoops it up. Alright, so we're going to need to bring in Celestial Purges, which kind of sucks. Get a Distress out of here. Get these Purges in. Do I even want Obnixilis in my list at this point? Get like these Obnixilises out and get a Karn in. Like, I like... It's kind of weird. I like this portion of the deck and like 1 or 2 like 5-mana walkers, but it just feels like... See, like this hand. I mean, I can't throw it back, but if I don't hit a 3rd land, I'm dead. Alright, we hit a 3rd land, so we're in okay shape here. But the opponent's probably on the all-burn plan here. It might have a Skull Crack effect. I mean, we could have just died with the all-burn hand, I suppose. Especially given the sheer number of burn spells that could possibly be in our opponent's hand. Wow, triple bolt. Alright. And... Problem is, I don't think... Well, I don't like doing this, but I gotta clear the way for this timely reinforcements if we want to have a prayer of winning this game. Yep. See if we just die randomly. So our opponent did have the Skull Crack, so if we would have gone for the whatchamacallit here, we would have been in a lot of trouble. Well, the fact that they're playing Legacy tells me they're doing something right. So, yeah, that sounds pretty sweet. So, we gotta go for timely reinforcements here. If they drew a Scrawl Crack effect, they do a Scrawl Crack effect. There's nothing we can do about that. Alright, so you're saying we have a chance? Because we know one of their cards in hand is a mountain. Next turn we get to play Gideon Jura. Or Gideon Alexandikar, sorry, not Gideon Jura. Probably take a burn spell. Nope. Wonder if their hand's just all lands right now. Leyline of Punishment. Opponent has one card in hand we don't know about. Make a... Next turn, can we purge next turn and activate? No, we need to draw land. Okay, Rift Bolt, sure. Force our opponent to use their spell. Searing Blaze. Fortunately, that only deals one. So... Huh. Sounds pretty miserable for them. Actually... just gonna attack with these two, purge the ley line, then next turn attack with Shamelink Vents plus stuff. Huh. That, unless they have Caracas, that sounds absolutely miserable for them. So... I think our opponent's pretty much drawing dead here now. Yep, and they conceded. Alright, so we'll play one more match with this deck here. That's just mean. That's just mean. Gotta love Reanimator randomly, you know? Yeah. I was aware what Archetype of Endurance does. That's just brutal. So one thing about the black-red and mono-black Reanimators over the more traditional, like, got beat down by Grixis Delver. Yeah, Delver decks tend to give the Reanimator decks fits. Especially the non-blue version Reanimator decks. Oh my. Um. I think we're supposed to keep this hand, but man, it does not feel good. Misplay by Not Thazi in turn 1. Yeah, sometimes that happens. Well, if we're against a mid-range deck, we might have a chance. If we're up against some type of aggro nonsense, we could be in some trouble. Feels like Jund or something. Like, if we hit another land drop, I don't know how Jund is beating this hand. Yep, looks like Jund. I guess Bloodbraid Elf could be a problem. Liliana would be annoying, but we get to... Never mind. Young Pyromancer. Sure. This is like the 3-color... The 4-color Mardu Bedlam Reveler deck, or the 4-color Reveler deck. Don't really like shocking that in, but may as well. Just to hold up Anguish Unmaking here. Yep, confirmed 4-color Mardu Pyromancer nonsense. We got, like, I think this is the version with Traverse the Uvenwald and, huh. Huh. I'm not saying my opponent can't beat my hand, but this many Planeswalkers against a deck that's not seen its Lingering Souls yet. Yeah, I shouldn't say that because they could easily play Lingering Souls still this turn. Oh, Lily. Oh, flashing back, Faithless Looting. Sure. Abrupt Decay and Lightning Bolt hit the bin. Alright. So, I think I'm supposed to play Gideon here first. Gideon seems like the one that pressures them the most. This is not a Blood Moon deck. At least I don't believe. Technically, it's not. This deck's mana is a little too greedy for it to be a Blood Moon deck. Traverse with 3 card types? Sure, get a basic mountain on your deck. His Inquisitions are looking pretty poor on this board. Guess you get Bedlam Reveler here? Yeah. Wonder what they drew into here. Alright, Dreadbore, yeah, that's a card. So now our opponent has a Lingering Souls and a land, Bloodstained Mire. Flashback Souls. Makes some sense. Wish we had our 5th land for getting Jura here. So... I'll have to share that list, Doyle. Sorry, I'm just thinking what the best line is here. Obviously it's one of the 2 Sorens, I'm just trying to think which one's actually better here. Like, I feel if this game lasts long enough, we're gonna win. But I want to make sure that we don't get punked out in the meantime. Why? Oh, I was gonna say, why are you casting Inquisition other than to... Yeah. Oh, one black mana. Pump up your Bedlam Reveler. Seems like a hard way to try to win the game. Well, if it's anything like Cleveland and whatnot, a lot of those people have probably had those decks for a really long time. So, foil black-red Reanimator. Well, to be fair, a good bit of the black-red stuff you can get foiled by the Graveborn deck. So, this game is over. I'm not sure why we're still playing. I mean, that's a card that can get him back in the game. I mean, discarded an Arid Mesa. Unless they don't have any lands to fetch out of their deck, I'm not sure. It's amazing they held on to the Miracles deck given Top getting banned. Alright, so we definitely want the Purges. Do I want timely reinforcements is a question here. Maybe on the timely reinforcements. Like, how many of these cards do I want and do I not want? Purges and Pass. Fatal Push is fine, mainly against, yeah, I agree. That's the problem with this deck is, like, in a matchup like this, most of the cards are actually pretty good. Maybe only, like, one copy of Timely. Maybe, like, go down in Anguish Unmaking, since Celestial Purge answers most of their stuff, too. And maybe I want to go down a discard spell or two. In that case, maybe, like, a couple copies of Distress. And then maybe the last one's a Sorin Solemn Visitor. This hand's a little weak to, like, discard spell into Pyromancer. Feels like we're gonna get nope, Faithless Looting. Alright. Lake of the Dead. Yeah, that'll do it. Let's get our tap land into play here. Pyromancer, that's gonna die. Hopefully we draw. I was gonna say, I'd really like to draw, think I'm gonna let them, like, Bolt Face if they have Bolt here. Because I really actually want the. I was gonna say, I really want them to get a token, but I don't want that Pyromancer to stay in play. Yeah, you're able to run Lake of the Dead whenever you're playing against things like, wow. Alright. Might be hard to cast our spells this game. It's definitely one way to kind of stick it to the 4, 5, 6 cost control deck. Why wouldn't you flashback Faithless Looting your graveyard? That awkward moment when you can cast Thoughtseize, the off chance your opponent actually has something relevant in their hand. First Planeswalker is going to die. Alright, so our opponent's on the LD plan. So, how about them Cowboys? Alright. Really don't like discard spells in this matchup, but if our opponent's on the LD plan, it's like, what else can we really do? Not gonna Thoughtseize on 1. Worst they can do is discard spell us, and I don't know if I even care about that. Yep, should have cast our Thoughtseize. Presuming that's what they're gonna take here. Nope, let's take a Gideon. Alright. Alrighty then. It's an interesting hand to keep. So Rabble Master is extremely annoying if it hits the board. Young Pyromancer is equally annoying, but a little bit more manageable. Bedlam Reveler is far too far down the line to worry about. Lightning Bolt is the only spell that can cast outside of Nihil Spellbomb. I think it's between Pyromancer and Rabble Master here. And they rip a land like a professional. Alright. Yeah, I can imagine it is. I think I've seen it in quite a few of the black-red lists, too. I think we're in a lot of trouble this game. Basically, whatever we play is just gonna die. Yeah, we're just too far behind here. I guess theoretically Elspeth, if it's still in the deck, could stabilize here. But that's about it. Okay, that's a card. That is a card. We still have our opponent's Bedlam Reveler in the tank to deal with. 1, 2, 3. Start pressuring my opponent here. Alright, so that's going to unlock the Traverse. So I currently have 5 card types in graveyard. Yep, I don't think you have Bolt Friends, so... Especially since I know the Verdant Catacombs is your draw for the turn. Question is, what do you go get here? Fulminator? Siren Insanity, Archetype Endurance, Ashen Rider. Yeah, I remember when Angel of Despair was the go-to, and then they printed Ashen Rider, and it's like, why would anyone run Angel of Despair other than to have an alternative? Their Field of Ruin, huh? Fire this up. Okay, sure. I feel like Show and Tell might have a bit of a hard time against you. Because you have so many threats in their hand that they really don't want you to... Got a big guy out quickly. Yeah, and even if they show... I guess if the Show and Tell plan... half of their plan's pretty awful against you. So one of my opponent's cards in hand is a Bedlam Reveler. Which currently would cost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which would currently cost 3. Yeah, makes sense. But if you have like, wow, they're going really aggressive here. So we know 2 of their 3 cards in hand. Do they shock themselves to play their Bedlam Reveler here? I don't think they can afford to. One, two. Alright, let's do a quick graveyard check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you can play a Bedlam Reveler. I guess you'd have to draw... So you have one. We know one of your 2 cards in hand. You have a push or something. You live for a turn. All right. So, thoughts on the deck? Do I still have... Alright. This is Space Marines list, the one we're currently playing. Let me take a look at the Black-White Gideons list to get a better gauge of what I want to say. So, a lot of what Space Marine has going on is very similar. Yeah, I was trying to figure, like, I was looking at this Black White Gideons list that I played before on the channel, and I was wanting to see what would its curve look like before I went and talked about Space Marines list. Like, 25 lands in this deck, 24 lands in his deck. Just feels like this, especially the 4 and 5 CMCs. The four slot I'm pretty good with. Like, all of these planeswalkers, other than Sorin, Lord of Innistrad, are all kind of understandable, and even this one serves purposes when in conjunction with the other ones. Like, trimming this curve or getting another land in the deck. Another card that might be consideration is either Read the Bones or Night's Whisper to get a little more traction in the early to mid game, get a little more card draw going on here. Smooth out your draws, find your land drops. I know when I played Black-White Control in Standard a couple seasons ago, that was the last Grand Prix Pittsburgh actually made. Read the Bones. What's up, Cassius Brutus? Unfortunately, you're kind of catching me at the tail end of the stream here. But, yeah, I was just trying to think of, like, what's the best way to, like, oh, okay. I was just trying to think, like, I'm not sure which cards you would cut, and I'm not even sure that Distress is... Distress might actually be fine, as weird as that sounds, because you don't always want to, like, Thoughtseize on one. And the fact that you don't have a whole lot going on in the 2-mana slot, like, maybe Collective Brutality is a card that you can consider over a couple of the Distress. I don't know. There's a lot of, like, this... It feels like... I don't know about Mind Wrench, but I can understand the sentiment. I'd rather have targeted discard than let my opponent choose 2 cards. But, like, a couple copies of Distress I think are fine. But, like, 2 Collective Brutality, I don't know. Feels like, I don't know that, like, when I played the Black-White Gideons list, and I'm glad I have this as a frame of reference, I don't know that I like 5 Wrath effects in the list. I think 5 Wrath effects are too many. I could see, like, 1 or 2 copies of Bontu's Last Reckoning as kind of a hedge, like maybe 1 Bontu's, 1 Wrath of God or something in the main deck. Or just something along those lines. I don't like the tap out clause of Bontus, but sometimes you need a turn 3 Wrath in Modern. Just feels like this slot in this deck is a little more reasonable than... So this deck has 8, 11, 12 cards above CMC 4 or greater. And this one has 8, 12, 14. So... I don't know. Agreed. Like, the distress versus brutality debate is just kind of, it's not important. What's important is you have this early interaction. But like, it's these cards that are the, like, how many of X do you want? Like, Gideon Hero of the Trials would be fine as a couple of, moving the curve down. I like the split, like, my personal opinion, I'd run these 6, 1 or 2 Gideon Jura, 1 of Nixilis, and then either one of the Sorin or Elspeth, and then cut, like, these 2, 1 of the Obnixilis, and maybe 1 of the Anguish Unmaking, and a couple of the Distress here, and put like 2 Brutality, maybe a couple of Bontu's Last Reckonings, and a couple of Read the Bones or something, and get 25th land in here somehow. I don't know. I'm just trying to do a subjecture here. Like, the deck, obviously, as we saw, even in games where we were way behind, like those, that double Young Pyromancer draw, just Lingering Souls into Planeswalker is just so, especially like Sorin Solemn Visitor and Gideon, is so brutal. I mean, they ate through 2 Planeswalkers, and yet we still Lingering Souls into Sorin Solemn Visitor, just beat you in a race. So... as far as the sideboard goes, yeah. Just feels like there's too many discard spells in the sideboard when we already have 8 in the main deck, but I understand, like, wanting to switch out, your removal spells. I'd probably split these up for, like, some amount. Bitter Blossom wouldn't be a bad turn 2 play. That would be a good one. The question is do you want Bitter Blossom in the main deck or the sideboard? Because that might be more of like a grindy card against mid-range decks than against control decks. 1 or 2 Bitter Blossom might be fine. Probably want some amount of Stony Silence, and then like another Wrath or 2 in the board. Karn's solid. We're not... The problem is, like, you're just adding more 4-mana spells to a deck that's already overloaded on 4+ CMC. So, I mean, the deck's effective as is. I'm not saying can't win games. We just won 2 matches. So, but that's just some thoughts. Deck feels like it's a little too high on the mana curve. You probably need 1 more land. Some way to smooth out your draws with either like Night's Whisper or Read the Bones. And, depends on your meta, how you want to handle things. So, it's going to be about it. So, hope everyone's having a good evening. I'm getting pretty tired here. I'm not used to being a late night owl after all these weeks of 4 a.m. to 1 p.m. shifts. So I'm probably going to go ahead and call it a night here unless anybody has anything else they want to talk about or anything. I'll probably be back tomorrow morning around 8:30, do a short stream with some type of standard deck. I'm not really sure which one right now. I'm leaning towards either one of the control decks or Mono Red Wizards. Probably be a short, like, hour and a half stream before I get up and moving for the day. So, but thanks to Doyle and Cassius for hanging out. Thanks War Dog before you fell asleep. But hope everyone has a good night, and I will catch everybody later.